Hey guys! So I'm here for my October wrap-up. This is going to be way less exciting than I thought it would be, but whatever, we're just gonna hop right into it. So the first book that I got to this month was a long-awaited read for me, and I am so glad that I finally got to it, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've heard a lot of people talking about this book, and I just had no idea what really to expect going into it. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was just, it was a roller coaster of a read. If you've read it, you know what I mean. It's just like, it's constant and it's exhausting. And from what I've heard, the sequel, Golden Sun, is even worse. It's just an adrenaline ride all the way through. Don't really know how to explain this and do justice to the story by giving a quick synopsis, because I kind of went into this blind and was pleasantly surprised by what it was. I don't want to describe it as like a futuristic dystopian because that kind of turns me off of books at this point, but I mean, that's kind of what it falls under, but it's definitely way more mature, way more thought out and complex. And this book, it's described as Hunger Games meets Ender's Game meets a whole bunch of different things, and I can see the like comparisons as I was reading it. I could definitely see those, but I just highly recommend just reading this and just kind of going on the ride and seeing where it takes you because, whew, it was exhausting, but it was totally worth it. So, 5 out of 5 stars for this one. The next book that I picked up is kind of an older book, but I kind of wanted to get into the Halloween spirit because, you know, October, you gotta start reading creepy stuff. But I read Salem's Lot by Stephen King, and I do believe I've started this probably multiple times when I was younger, and I think I was just too young to really appreciate it. I gave this 4 stars. It's pretty much what I want a vampire story to be, rather than the whole Twilight and the romance part. This is what, like, horror vampire stories should be. It's gross, it's dark, it's twisted, and they're the monsters they're supposed to be. It's not lovey-dovey. It's pretty gory. So yeah, I gave this 4 stars. It was a really good read to get me into the Halloween spirit. Now this next book is the last book that I actually got to this month. It was a very, very sad reading month for me. I picked up this book and I planned on reading other things along with it because that's generally what I do. I generally read like 2 or 3 books at a time. This book consumed me, and that is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I had no idea what this was about going into it, other than it's won awards, it's a bestseller, and it's a heifer of a book. Look at this. This thing weighs like a gajillion pounds. This book kind of consumed me. I don't really know how to describe it. It's long, it's dense, and it was just, I don't know, it was very satisfying to read. I gave it 4 stars. I don't even really know how to tell you what it's really about, other than it's about the story of this man's life starting when he's like 13 and is in a terrorist attack on an art museum and ends up kind of stealing this famous painting, the Goldfinch, and it kind of then shows his life progression through like drug-ridden teenage years into adulthood and getting into the antiques and art business and how the painting kind of follows him through his life. I feel like that description doesn't really do the book justice. This book is just one of those books where the characters stay with you when you're not reading it. When you're not reading it, you're thinking about what's happening to them like they're real people. They're just so fleshed out and it's just very thoroughly written. I don't know if that's a good description of this or not, but I was pleasantly surprised by this book. It got really dark, but it was also very inspiring by the end. I highly recommend picking this up if you're kind of looking for like a heavier read about human nature and art and its influences on people. I just really liked it, and needless to say, it took me a long time and it kind of consumed me, so I didn't really get to anything else. I started a lot of books, but this one kind of took up my time for the month. Now, because those were the only books that I got to in October, I feel like I need to make up for lost time by reading all the kind of creepy horror books that I wanted to read. So I'm not necessarily throwing a TBR at the end of this, but more so looking for suggestions. I've picked up a couple books and put them down. Nothing was really hitting me right this month. But I'm kind of Now that Halloween's over, I know this is the wrong timing, I'm kind of looking for creepier books to read. It's just, I don't know, that time of the year where I'm looking for darker stuff. If you guys have any good suggestions about witch books, that's kind of what I'm in the mood for. Just not necessarily paranormal romance, but I'm looking for good, darker YA, magic-y, dark, asylum-y maybe type books. If you guys have any recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comments for me because I'm kind of at a loss right now with what to read. So that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys soon. Bye!